into this series between FlyQuest and Echo Fox. You all set?
In the game.
We're all set. We are ready to get in. And what a two games we have had. A back and forth, but it looked like Fox actually had Fly's number. Things changed.
I mean, they should have. As they talked about on the analyst test, that was so many kills early for Echo Fox. And they have this composition to spread out the map with an early lead to try and snowball, split push, but they weren't able to make that split push work. And FlyQuest with a very strong defense, and even though Turtle was the kind of the condition for the comeback, and we talked about the scaling of the champion there for Tristana and looking to go off with those resets in the team fights, it was up to the rest of the team to buy him some time to get those items.
Making sure they played real well across the map, and everybody really coming out strong. Fly high in the middle as well, doing just that. The dodges out, the KDA, bringing this Corky to the team and also bringing the pressure.
Exactly. So many times would we pan over the mid lane, and High's got 3 members looking at him. He's dodging the Talia knockback. He dodges the Jhin deadly flourish and the curtain call, and he's valking over the Talia wall and getting himself out of these scenarios where you're like, well, he didn't really gain much, but that's not the goal there. The goal there is to buy time. Time is what he's gaining, and he still was able to put up 40% of the team's damage on that court.
That's the trade, right? Those are the numbers where we're like, Froggen's doing 40% of his team's damage. Well, these guys are now butting heads in the mid lane here. We're into game 3. We'll see who can put those damage numbers up once again. And phase 1.
Corky does just spit out damage. So the big damage numbers do correlate very heavily with champions played as well. And Corky should really be a high priority for Champions Select for both of these teams, as both Froggen and High have a high mastery of the champion and have already utilized it very effectively this week.
What did they decide? You can see at the bottom of the screen, pick order, ban order for last game. So how things are switching up ever so slightly.
Are they going to let Zach through again? Last time Echo Fox were on the red side, actually let Moon have the Zach. And even though FlyQuest weren't able to win that game, did display quite a few good moves with it, and at least the familiarity necessary.
I think they're all right with the Zach if they get the Tom, because that was like kind of the first leap up, right, in the first place.
True.
That scenario.
Tom has definitely been huge. FlyQuest will go right back to it. They do have confidence, in the crowd control that he brings and the long-range engages. A lot of mid-lane pressure specifically, as we said in game number 1. But again, that Tahm Kench, I would be super surprised if Echo Fox don't take the Tahm Kench here in their first 2 picks.
I feel like this is like the wait. We know we want the Tom. What else do we want? We use the 50 seconds.
Yeah. As we said, the Corky for both of those guys has been huge. They bypass the Tom in favor of the Jhin. Now, to me, this is more of a takeaway pick. Stealing it from Turtle rather than, oh yeah, we had such a big, pick-off game there in the mid game with Keith on the Jhin. As we said, High was doing a really good job dodging a lot of those abilities. So this is mostly, I think, stealing it away from Turtle, because Turtle had really big performances. And there you go, no surprise.
I hope it wasn't as big as a puzzle piece as we think, at least for Echo Fox fans, right? Because if Moon just starts hitting all these ults that people die from, you're like, that would have been great to have Tahm Kench there.
I feel like, there's so many scenarios where you're like, man, it would have been great to have a Tahm Kench there, but here we go, FlyQuest.
You got me there. Tristana locked in, and while Turtle going for that again is, like you said, the Jhin takeaway. And what do we hover here? Maybe the jungle, just so they keep things even.
That would be an interesting one. So Ivern definitely has lost. We'll talk about the theoretical pick of Ivern, even though they probably won't do it. But I do like bringing it back up, because even though Ivern lost a lot of power with the nerfs to the Redemption and Locket going over to health scaling now, so his build was really altered, I still think it's a very good champion, especially if you do have double AD carries you're trying to protect from the jungle. The shield, Stacy on the front line, soaking up a lot of the crowd control and damage. I think it still can and will be in the future incorporated into team compositions in competitive play, just with an altered build of, maybe that Ardent Sensor first and then into the Redemption and stacking like that. But not gonna be the case here, and it will be a Cadian on the Gragas. Love this champion, so much playmaking, really effective tank right now as well. Even better on live, but still very good here on the current LCS patch, and frontline is also something that a double AD carry comp would very much like to have. Gragas also doubles as disengage.
Yes, he does. Syndra, Camille banned out. You can see that rumble for the side of FlyQuest once they get back into some picks as they do their final ban here towards Echo Fox. Probably just focused, let's say, at that top lane.
Yep, because they're not fooled, right? As I said, it could very well be an Acadian jungle Gragas, so it's that flexible pick that we always talk about, and FlyQuest do not want to let them flex it into the jungle and also take the Renekton for the super strong lane phase that we've seen and the CS leads that Looper was able to gain with it.
More takeaways. There's 3 takeaways within this game. Balls may be going back to that Kled for a second play here in the summer split. The team was actually quite behind it. It fit their style on the engage.
It does fit their style because Zach is a really good primary engage if you have Fog of War. But if you don't, have a lot of vision to work with and a lot of true sight, then Tom Kench and Kled are also really good options, and we've seen them utilize both of those effectively. Plus, if you remember back to the previous Renekton versus Kled game, Balls actually was doing quite well for himself there in the 1v1 and staying pretty much even until Acadian came with the gank from the jungle. So maybe we'll see more jungler attention there and them try to affect it again. But
delivery systems abound.
Yeah, High does round it out. This has been his most picked, as many mid laners, right? And it's his control mage of choice. If he's not going with something like the Corki or Lucian in the mid lane, then control mage here for him has always been Orianna.
That's insanely his most picked. The Talon is 2 and the Lucian is 2 behind him. This makes pick number 10 for Orianna. The ball control in the hands of High here as Froggen then takes the Bombardier to himself for this game on Corki. Gate goes for the defense. We've been trading Braum and the Tom back and forth throughout these, basically.
Braum and Tom, best of buddies.
Yep.
In the bottom lane.
We'll have to see here. That Rumble taken away, going up against that Kled. I wonder how much kind of nostalgia High and the rest of the guys get playing next to a Zach in game. In a moment, be like, Videos, is that you?
Blast from the past here.
It has been a while. We're about to get into game number 3. Who is going to have the better chance to push each other to the limits, and who is going to fare better at those limits? Hashtag FlyWin. Hashtag FoxWin as we get into our final matchup in this best of 3. Seems like everybody got a pretty good composition coming into this one. Can't leave it up to that.
Little bit more scaling on the FlyQuest side. That being said, it's never like the Echo Fox team composition falls off a cliff or anything. They also, Echo Fox on their side, have a lot of early game playmaking abilities. Jhin operational off of just a little bit of lethality. Him in combination with Gragas and Braum is actually enough crowd control to set up for the Rumble ultimates. And we've talked previously about teams with a lot of damage, playing a Rumble from the top lane and not having to use territory basically and the terrain to funnel people onto those big abilities. But there's actually quite a few skill shots that Echo Fox could rely upon to control the face of the battlefield.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Looking around at some masteries. Nothing weird on the start. Doran's Blade, Doran's Shield for our bot laners.
No fervor on the Rumbles?
No
Check.
fervor on the Rumbles. Check. It looks like, again, calmer start. The starts get calmer and calmer as a best of 3 goes on. Even a best of 5 as teams don't want to give up too much in the beginning. And we remember FlyQuest just surging with momentum that last game. But even at the end of both of these wins, while they were back and forth, neither team kind of got up in excitement, right? It's a very hard-fought win. They know there were mistakes. They know there were good plays. So it's been a long one here in this series.
This series has been an absolute slugfest, taking its toll on both teams. And it all comes down to this. Can FlyQuest really begin their climb out of the bottom of the standings? Or will Echo Fox put their foot down and even up to go 500 at the beginning of the split, which would be a pretty good spot for them, all things considered. Nice pull here for Moon on the Zac, actually.
They're doing the strong red, too.
Yeah, they're getting the super pull or the hard leash, or the super hard leash. I like to combine both.
More.
Lemonation is taking that one to heart. The super duper hard leash gives up half his health bar. And they're actually going to do a similar thing for Acadian, even though we didn't see it on screen. It was a very hard leash from Gate and Keith as well to get Acadian up to an even speed. Both teams have really been aware of, pretty much every time in LCS, the blue side team has been giving these super hard red pulls from the bottom, so they even it up a little. And Acadian's actually going to be jungling with a very good pace here on Gragas. You can see he's doing a hard clear of the blue camps, and he is a bit ahead of Moon, but it's just because Moon has had to traverse to the other side of the map. But this could mean that the ward on the red buff, does expire here, and FlyQuest will have to be wondering about the whereabouts of this Gragas. Level 3 already here for Acadian with Flash ready means that he's definitely got the possibility to be an early playmaker.
Knows he's safe, probably timing these just around what Moon is doing, and knows he's even safer with that ward we just saw on River.
Yeah, mid lane is always a target there for Zach, and they're going to see him coming. All right, it's just going to be a full hard clear here from Acadian, powering through, trying to get to his level 4 first.
Ooh, nice movement from high, leaving the ball towards the back caster line, kind of catching Froggen off guard there. And a Warden just misses Moon, but the clear of the Gromp should give him an idea. They also see him here.
Looper's also blowing up the blast cone, so he takes away that other avenue.
Jungler's considered top. A little aggression here as the wave meets and resets in the mid lane. Keith, Gate feel like they have the upper hand as they go for the fight with the range.
I think Froggen's trying to bait a little bit here and use up some of Moon's time. He knows Moon's on that top side, so Froggen should actually be hovering to the bottom, but he's not hovering to the bottom side. Huh.
Nice flash grab once, does get the minion, gonna lock him in. This should be a dead Froggen if they get that ball move forward. Great step to the right, and his Valkyrie comes up with just enough mana. Froggen stays alive.
Curious,
wow.
No respect play. They had vision of Moon a few seconds before in the top side when he was killing the Scuttle, and Froggen does not respect it. He does not hover on the bottom side of the river, pays for it with both of his summoner spells. And we talked about Zach's affinity for mid lane. That will only increase now that there are no summoner spells on Froggen. This should help out the laning phase of High. You can see he's already earned himself a CS lead, and a lot of the minions are pushed into the turret. Luckily for Froggen, it's a cannon minion wave, so he won't lose too many of them. And he should be able to catch up decently as the cannon only just now going down, and he gets almost right back in there.
Almost. Good choice. It's always hard to tell when the melees are going to go down to one last shot or not, but he's picking it up. Acadian and making his way through
that Raptor respawn timer. Acadian's got it perfectly.
Oh, nice hit. Just a little aggression, though. Knows he won't be able to fully take him out without vision on High. Froggen was probably saying, we don't know where mid is. Let's be careful.
Yep.
Bot push, though.
Acadian takes his lunch money. Give me those chicken nuggets. Got most of them, and even a little bit of bottom lane possibilities here. I don't know. FlyQuest actually backing off is what we were going for there. Turned into a sheep. As FlyQuest get off their backs from the bottom lane, and Acadian will go back to jungling. Bah!
He almost killed me. All right.
I'll revive you if you go down, Riv. Don't worry. I got your back. What is it, like 7 seconds or something to get you back up?
Yep. Quickest way to back in the game, though. We need a big purchase. Little gold lead here for Fox as they start making their way back towards the top side with Acadian's pressure. He doesn't have too much to clear, so he may look for one of the lanes if he doesn't go back for his wolf camp to start things off. A bit of a roam here from Gate. Maybe to see if they get something while he's on his way back to the lane. The long way around.
He's got a control ward this time to work off of, so Acadian doesn't stick around, though. Even so, Acadian didn't have vision on Moon. He used High's movement as his tell because High started to collapse on him. Now the tables have turned, though. Roam up here from the mid lane. Gate's got High's back.
Oh. Just on the outside, they see Moon towards the top. What's the pressure here? Gate hasn't been able to get back down to bot lane.
Yeah, it's all these vision games. They saw the Zac charging up the elastic slingshot on the ward, so that ward is what saves the... Oh! Doesn't use the blast cone. Is what saved the overcommitment there from Echo Fox. So all being told, a lot of vision traded, but not too much of a big difference here being made.
Nice wave stack.
Yeah, Looper's going to be happy to clean up all this cash. Feels good on that Flame Spitter, even though they did nerf the clearing of Rumble a little bit. Hasn't really shown up in professional play too much.
Look at Balls as well. They're just saying there's zero vision. There was a huge wave I could have fought Looper in, but not right now. They give a lot of respect towards that top lane.
Yeah, and even though there is a little bit of extra gold here for Echo Fox, being earned by Looper in the top side, being earned by Acadian in the jungle, FlyQuest are pretty happy to scale up here. Zach wants a couple more points in the Elastic Slingshot. Tristana trying to get to those crimp multipliers, and the slower pace of the game, while different, is actually just fine for them. Meanwhile, Echo Fox, they're not getting outpaced yet. Jin, one item is great. Corki, one item is great. Similar things here for Rumble, so we'll probably see them turn up the pace as soon as that Trinity Force comes in, as soon as the Ghost Blade comes in for Keith. That's where we'll really see Echo Fox, try and increase the tempo. None of the big spells used here yet, or the big flashes either.
Yeah, the calmest of all three games for sure. Everybody's just kind of playing the we don't want to lose gentleman's agreement, so we don't see any of the aggressive engages anymore. Acadian also taking off that early game Rek'Sai. Looks to be more countering where Moon is going to be, as opposed to making his own plays. We've only seen him in the jungle really once here, but now we're watching High pick up the blue, back to mid with Froggen. Packages are going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, and once again, Acadian is going to be playing the front line for the team, so he's going the Cinderhulk Gragas, which we already saw from him yesterday. And in addition to all that playmaking surrounding his flash and surrounding his ultimate, he's also going to try and be the damage soak for the team.
Somebody's got to pull the trigger soon.
I mean, that package, as a Corki player, it kind of weighs on you, and you see the timer running out. You really want to make use of it. Sometimes it can get you into trouble, a reckless pilot, but Froggen not going to force anything here quite yet. As we said, still has plenty of time. Working up toward the Trinity Force.
Even in all lanes as well. Ball's able to push in. Looper for a moment takes scuttle control. Or almost scuttle control. Had to leave it.
You could tell, as you said before, last time when Balls had minions in his eyes, he backed off because he didn't have vision on the jungler. This time, High makes the call from mid lane. Corki's roaming with the package. Better back off. So Balls sacrificing CS here again to Rumble in order to stay safe, in order to not give up kills. And even though it feels bad to sacrifice those CS and kind of just watch from the bush, reaching out, crying, no, one more minion, another minion. They do build up there, so the wave eventually going to push back, and he'll feel good about that one.
Cloud Drake as well, not spicing things up too much as people fight around it until they can really get the objective to go at it.
Okay, we may have Moon thinking offensively now here. Level 6 on Zach to make a big play onto Looper. Yeah, he's going for it all right.
Bear trap on a rope, miss, but Looper's not a bear, so how much would it really do? He gets away, Gates just on the other side. He says, stand beside me. We're gonna have some fun. Moon almost goes down, but he tries to take him out of the fight with him. Few more shots. Balls goes down. First blood as Keith drops the curtain on him.
Oh, what bad timing for FlyQuest. They finally decide to go offensive, and the first gank is into the lane swap. Echo Fox already 20 seconds before that had started the lane swap with their duo heading up, but FlyQuest actually want to defend the push on the first turret here. Moon charging up.
This'll Voyage with High, Lemonation as well. Chomped up and he stays safe. That's going to be the teleport down bot lane. Quick save from Looper, but they're double TPing in. Looper putting himself in a very scary spot while Turtle may be jumping forward. Looks like they're going to hold that other TP down.
Yeah, switcheroo here from FlyQuest does earn them the first turret bonus, but Echo Fox still with a gold lead here, and they haven't even cleaned up the top turret yet. So that top lane play to get the first blood definitely did a lot for them. A lot of damage here, wear and tear on the FlyQuest turrets as well.
Opening up the map just a bit. The one and done. It wouldn't be Balls, though. He could obviously jump off Scarl. It would take Fox too much time to coordinate that kill, and they back out. Turtle back to mid, and now it's a bit of cleanup here. Fox strikes And FlyQuest figures out where to go with it. Let's see this play once again.
Yeah, so they just assumed that it was a normal back here from the bottom lane of Echo Fox. They go for the gank. Moon does not immediately go for his ultimate on Looper. They just try and chase him down because they don't account for anybody else. But if you look at the mini-map during that replay, it was all dark again. So while Balls had been playing it so well and so cautiously by himself in the 1v1, as soon as his jungler shows up, it kind of feels a little bad that the offensive call there gets turned around. And,
yeah, those junglers.
Yeah, I had to say, I praise them all the time, but in that case, you could tell Balls have been playing so defensively the whole time, being so cautious, and then Moon comes up with the gank. He's like, okay, I guess we'll go for it. Boom, turned around.
So what's your decision there? Obviously, you can go back at it, but Acadian may be expecting that as well. Do you go to repair it, or do you say, all right, back to you being you?
Sometimes it's very difficult, right? Because they didn't have vision. When you don't have any sort of deep vision, those are the times you have to be the most cautious. And Rumble specifically is one of the champions that junglers have nightmares about ganking because he has so much AoE. He turns around ganks very frequently in the top lane, 2v2s especially. That ended up not being a 2v2, and that was a 5v2 almost, worst case scenario. But even in 2v2s, you have to respect Rumble's ultimate and Flame Spitter and the ability for it to turn around ganks on melee champions. That was really the best of all worlds for Echo Fox. And they were very happy to get that kill, but then a little bit of sleight of hand got Echo Fox FlyQuest the early turret kill. Now they're still under pressure, though.
Acadian finding his vision inside the jungle of FlyQuest. His top is being pushed here by Turtle. He doesn't actually need any help against Looper. That's not a very big catch potential for a lane. But mid, however, puts Froggen out of place. And he still has both summoners, but in a dangerous spot as bot being pushed.
Yeah, on display there was the effectiveness of the new Zac kit. You don't even have to hit your slingshot anymore. It's all about landing the Q afterwards, and then you pull them back into the minions. Well done there by Moon. Meanwhile, bottom lane, as we said, FlyQuest were still under pressure, but Moon now top.
Moon doing much like Acadian was last game, trying to hit each lane as fast as possible. Whether it's a kill or not, he's trying to get a summoner, a flash, or a little pressure for his lanes. And we've seen him go across the board now.
And FlyQuest are funneling so much money here into Turtle to try and jumpstart that late game for themselves. Meanwhile, Balls is the one who has to pay for it all. He's the one who's taking the CS deficit really, really heavy now here that we're in the mid game, and they're moving him around to those weak lanes where they have to pressure, and he has to give up so many more of those minions. Meanwhile, Echo Fox, because so much is given up on the bottom side of the map from FlyQuest, they finally will just mosey on over to the Cloud Drake.
It's got to feel nice as well. Teleport deficit Drake. What's going to happen here? One shot out, one shot in. Froggen.
No flash!
Underneath Moon. Looper's not feeling too good about this. Overheating as he tries to get out, and Looper put in the stupor. He goes down.
And this game is just a tragedy for top laners. The second time here, Looper now gets baited in by his mid laner and leaves him out to dry.
Should be good. High can actually wrangle in a very nice shockwave of Keith and Gate and continue that path. They will back off quite quickly here, getting themselves to safety. Top going to be demoed down by Balls, and while Turtle and FlyQuest making some cross-map moves here to continue their control, they're going to nicely even out the gold with that turret.
Yeah, you got to be real scared here of the Tristana at this point from Echo Fox's point of view, because Turtle's getting so much of these turret gold bonuses, so much of the extra farm. Actually, Balls. There you go, Lemonation. Safety is here.
Just a quick Abyssal Voyage up from a Shelly.
I like that. Change your name to Shelly because, even though Herald is a title, people often mistake it for a first name. And Rift Herald is, in fact, female. Lemonation going to make his way out here after they take the Rift Herald. But yeah, Rift Herald picked up here. That might aid in getting Tristana a bit more of that turret gold, but let's take another look. Froggen gets ulted out and then pieces out as soon as he sees Moon. So Looper's like, hey man, I already used flash. I'm under the turret now. Well, guess I'm toast.
Like, actually, I don't want anything to do with this. Still 1-1, a very low kill score game. We've seen. Oh,
I don't know if that was intentional, but
that's a whoopsie. Low kill score game because they're saving each other. as we can see. No, it's just everybody, like I said before, afraid to make those commitments, afraid to lose. So get a much slower game. Here, a few engages towards the top side of the map have allowed a dragon to happen. And with these turrets opening up, we'll finally get some more forward vision.
Yeah, I do have some good news for you as well, Riv. The first item completions that we were talking about spiking for Echo Fox, Leandry's done for the Rumble, Trinity Force for the Corki, Ghostblade for the Jhin, and they even have, you know, some components on top of those. So this is where you would look for Echo Fox to start to go aggressive and make use of all these champions they have that do spike pretty well off of one item and kind of hit that lull in between before FlyQuest can get their crit multipliers going for themselves. And it looks like FlyQuest or Echo Fox have chosen the mid lane to try and start it off. Ball's though gonna take a lot of damage here on the bottom side.
All for all. Gets balls off of the wave, which means they have a bit of pressure towards mid, but Keith has already broken off of that to take care of what High has been doing on the top side. FlyQuest moving across the map and keeping Fox doing what they want.
Yep. FlyQuest would like to keep Echo Fox running around for farm. Froggen actually gets tagged with the slow, but Valkyrie bounced right out, no problem.
Super stretch. Almost have, like, I love how Froggen stands toe-to-toe in a lot of these fights, even when there's maybe 15 seconds for his teammates to get there. They try and push the limit.
Oh, Turtle's hunting.
Fly off.
Even with just the static Shiv BF, he wants to jump here onto Keith. He does have one level advantage, and he has got a buddy advantage too.
Oh my word, so much catch potential, but the crowd control misses left and right. Keith is dodging. Dipping, diving. Wild Turtle's gonna go to the left. He tries to deny vision in the brush. Gets to the next one without any more vision. But there's just too much vision. Now they're going on to Looper. Moon's very, very low, but he's not the focus. They want the AD. They want the bot. It's Wild Turtle now in the Isaac Gate. Lemonation's back to help him out. And the rotation from the power mid laners, Froggen and High, just on the edge. Where can they and what can they do? High gets popped off to the right, goes for the self-ultimate, and really only vacuums Fox around. It's not enough damage.
Yeah, High was coming for the roam, but he must have lost track of Froggen and did not account for the counter roam there, pretty much mirrored by Froggen. So Acadian takes it into his own hands, uses the flash, picks off one, and he's looking for another one.
Slowly but surely, they walk this one in, trying to save his AD carry. Nicely done. The heal for Lemon. Thick Skin comes through as well. They make it out, but a lot of resources used.
Whoa. Yeah, that buddy system barely gets the bottom lane out of trouble there, but very big cost for FlyQuest.
It's such an extended fight, too. Here it is again.
And they make this big play on top side with no teleport. That's the big difference. You can see in the mini-map on the bottom of your screen, Kled, that is balls, no teleport available. So the numbers will eventually get turned around. The original plan here for FlyQuest does find success in killing off Keith, but it takes a very large toll as the Zac passive is popped. Zac then goes down, and the continued roam here from High should have been aborted because they should have accounted for the extra teleport, the extra member of Echo Fox. There was no way if, FlyQuest were going to even up those numbers, and they lost track of Froggen. He makes them pay for it.
Rift Herald just used in mid. Shockwave missing Froggen by a millimeter. He Valkyried right out of it, so that play happening as we were in the replay. Little damage on his back to keep that mana low so they can keep pushing the side lanes. That was actually pretty good to keep him in there. And Wild Turtle has some time top side.
Yeah, Turtle actually doesn't have a lot of deep vision in the red quadrant of the jungle, so he does have to respect the package that was just picked up from Froggen, and he can't actually pressure that secondary turret. He has to come join the rest of his team. So Echo Fox do have still a little bit of more time to work with here.
Oh, almost. Still not going to be a problem. He stays with the team. Pings from FlyQuest onto Baron. That's a pretty dark area for them, and they don't know if it's even being pressured or baited from the top side of it, let alone the bottom. Here, clearing out a pink ward and getting a little bit of that vision back.
Yeah, and they actually have a good opportunity to jump onto Echo Fox. Looper now the one with no teleport, and they're going... Oh, they don't pull the trigger. This mid turret is so low due to that, Rift Herald that was activated before. Echo Fox actually get themselves out of a little bit of a sticky situation where Looper wouldn't have been able to join and just back right out. That package really threatening here and does buy them a lot of map control.
Fox taking over a few. High, low on mana, really only 250 there. Dissonance is 100 or more, so he needs to get out, get some mana. And they can get back to these lanes. Finishing up his last few bits of farm, 1,200 gold to spend for him, so he's looking to cap out on an item before he can go back. That's just the Ocean Drake going over, a little bit of regeneration here. I don't know if much of that's been used, as these fights are hitting fast and hitting hard.
Speaking of which, Acadian has his sights set on the mid lane, but all the rest of FlyQuest show up, so might have to readjust those.
Pinks everywhere in the inventories of Foxes. They make their way out of the base. You can see what they want to do, move those wards forward with the ability to protect them. Right now it's all owned by FlyQuest, as they've had one of their better early starts to a game coming out of this one. And they were really able to put that hurt down onto Froggen for the first time in the mid lane. He did get his escapes in, but more pressure has seemed to keep him down from roaming Froggen, making plays elsewhere on the map. 3-2, just around 23 minutes in, with the gold just about even as well. After 20 minutes, you're going to be focused on those wards towards topside. High actually still has not gone back to buy yet, but has let the mana charge up. A lot of money to be playing with in this fight. You can hear balls coming from the bottom side. They still have to teleport to play after this if they get the big win in the fight. Equalizer crosses the team, splitting balls and Moon down to the bottom, and Keith has dropped. His flash was down, and Fly knew they could initiate the fight. A kill coming in for High now, as FlyQuest finds their mark on 2 and looks for control on the map.
Those are 2 big carries down for Echo Fox now, and they're in a very dangerous scenario of trying to defend this Baron bait from FlyQuest with only 3 members still up.
Balls gives away what the idea is. It's top and mid. Let's stop them from backing and keep the pressure.
Yeah, Balls goes really aggressive in the 3v3 here. Gets dismounted.
Got that Scarl invincibility. Then you go for Lemon's tummy. Now they're going on the top turret. It's ever so slightly things in favor of FlyQuest, but there are areas Fox has windows to get back in here, so FlyQuest has to be careful.
Yeah, FlyQuest are feeling so good about their scaling now. We mentioned the Tristana items. They just now have Turtle hitting both the rapid fire cannon and static shiv in addition to his train force. So this is a fully operational Tristana. Not to mention he has the levels as well due to all the split pushing that they've done. And one of the biggest things about the scaling for Tristana too is the range. You know, she gets an extra 7 range for every level. And we'll take another look at this team fight, but the engagement here from FlyQuest frontline was very good. Moon on display again is the power of that Zac. Gets locked down those 2 carries. Turtle here jumps into both of the enemy carries and gets the kill, getting out alive on that Tristana. Really playing those limits with the amount of extra gold he's gotten this game. You know, he has the ability to do that. Jumping in on the exhausted Keith, even with Froggen right there, trying to cover him. Doesn't go down and gets the extra kill for himself. You know, at the level 13 there for Tristana, that would put it at 634 range. Math is right there for Tristana, and just gets better from there.
Little separation. 9 pink wards just purchased by Fox, so near 1,000 gold spent in trying to regain that vision in their jungle. If they can protect it, it will be a big return on investment. And Echo Fox look to stop Balls here. They're initiating on 1 member, but don't know who else is going to be coming out of the woodwork. Froggen has a fight against Turtle in a 2v1. He buster shots gate back. They get him to safety, or I should say gets himself to safety. But Turtle is playing on that knife's edge, as we've been saying, and FlyQuest has been needing it.
Yeah, all right. So from Echo Fox perspective, now this is completely different than game number 2. They're on the defensive. They're looking to outplay under the turret. Can Echo Fox get that counterplay? It's so difficult against that range increase on the Tristana with the rapid fire as well as their passive, and FlyQuest are just closing the clamps. They've scaled very well here into the mid game, and they're taking advantage. Echo Fox kind of have to come up with one of those big team fights. Maybe it'll be here in the red quadrant.
Moon comes up with no one. Trying to go in. It's like they're going to steal this red out here. Turtle blasting forward. Thinks he can zero out Froggen. He's probably right with the amount of damage he's been doing. But gets Froggen to Valk out of that one. Looks like everybody stays a little bit safer with how many summoners were blown in these last fights. Fox is waiting on quite a few of those to come back up.
Yeah, Froggen definitely deserves respect. He's at 280 CS, highest in the game, even with Turtle being funneled the farm and funneled the split push. This Corki still can put out a large amount of threat if Echo Fox can get one of the team fights set up on their terms. It becomes more and more difficult as the game goes on, and you can see the vision here from FlyQuest.
Yep.
You know, they played it slow in the beginning, knowing that they're just trying to get Tristana fed. Now that they've crested the mid game here, trying to push in with the vision and take advantage.
Knight's vow for gate finished up. Expect that to go on Keith once he makes his way towards the mid lane.
Yeah, the double vows here for Echo Fox, kind of their special this weekend. Gate and Acadian, both with them ready for Froggen and Keith. And this is the time for them to be able to pull it out. Turtle here waiting in the brush. Uh-oh.
Shockwave, no follow-up. Actually quite big.
That is a decent cooldown. That might give Echo Fox the idea that they can actually try and exploit an opening here. Shockwave is pretty big teamfight cooldown here, and Echo Fox are getting a little bit worried as far as the timing of the game.
Yeah. Oh, nice body slam from Acadian. Moon has to think before he gets that hit again. Bumps up 4. Shockwave not there. What would have been huge, but it looks like FlyQuest could still have the ground on this fight. A great equalizer by Looper. They all going to walk the red carpet as they get in, and it's not going to be enough from Looper. FlyQuest says that's fine. We'll walk over hot coals to continue this fight.
Oh, looks who's going to tank for 2? They're just going to trade them.
Back and forth. Looks like they'll be fine on that one. FlyQuest to Baron.
Even with no Shockwave, even with interrupting the Zac E, there are just too many options there for FlyQuest to win the team fight. Moon again on the Zac, able to get 2 carries, and now they might turn it.
Trying to get to 2 members, didn't hit much on that. Looper gets himself into Zanyas. Out of the Zanyas goes down. Wild Turtle 1v1 with Keith as they go back and forth with shots. Buster there for Wild Turtle would have won him that one as they pick up Baron. And FlyQuest start turning the knob a little bit.
Yeah, it's honestly very difficult to see how you get through this many team fight abilities that FlyQuest have. And Echo Fox are having a hard time navigating that. Now that we're almost 30 minutes in with a Baron up, FlyQuest Lemonation even by himself is enough to run them off the objective. Let's take another look at the initiation. Remember, there's no Shockwave here, and he interrupts the slingshot, but it doesn't matter. Moon just goes in with the E into his ultimate. Big crowd control there, enough to kill Froggen. Turtle comes in on the Tristana, just cleaning up, gets his resets. Kill number 2 about to come in there from the bear trap, and that's going to be enough.
Back down to the Ocean Drake. This is going to be the first one here for FlyQuest. They've been focused on that top side of the map, continuously switching, matching those AD carry swaps. Now just start to control all the objectives. And Wild Turtle controlling that Tristana much better from game to game.
Yeah, high on his, as you said, 10 games so far in the summer split Orianna.
Yep.
Turtle here on the Tristana fed a lot of gold early on and has been able to scale super well. One of the classic champions for him. Echo Fox also gave over the Zac, but if you're just joining us now, this series was so close to being an Echo Fox 2-0. They won the first opening game in a very close fight, and then, well, let's take a look at what happens to Balls here in the 2v1 story around the turret. Looks like Baron buff and a couple of teammates is enough for him to fight him off.
Actually didn't know how much pressure, just how much pressure his team was creating in mid. Sees Acadian and Looper both just walk away from the turret. Gotta be careful with that siege minion in the back. Not gonna give him that much range towards the turret, and Turtle is quite far up.
One-man army here.
Uh-oh.
Acadian goes in, doesn't get the combo.
The E-drop, very nicely done from Acadian, but just off to the right, as you said. Shockwave goes through, but doesn't come up with much either. And now both teams kind of limping back and forth with a few members, look to still continue this fight.
Yeah, and it looks pretty simple here for FlyQuest to finish off the turret.
Yep.
They're just going to brute force there with the Baron.
Looper does have Equalizer. Could be a real hot exit here for FlyQuest. Froggen could put down that package. Went in a little faster than he thought. Took half his HP. Initiation goes in. Moon brings back gate and Acadian. Things are getting sticky for Echo Fox on this one. He latches onto Looper. He's forced to run right. Abyssal Voyage in from Lemonation as they look to consume the rest of Echo Fox. Not jumping over the wall. 10-3 here. 32 minutes in. Looks like FlyQuest will put some finishing touches on, but have a bit more work to do before the Nexus.
Yep, Lemonation actually going to be by himself in the 1v2. Can he do it? Support Tom Catch. Looper's going to leave Froggen in the 1v1.
Nick Skin. One last Q. He's going to come back. He get the fadeaway Q. It's going to be the Nexus. It's going to be FlyQuest. They take down Fox 2-1.
And what a completely different story than the entire rest of this series. Game number 1 is a slugfest, back and forth, team fight after team fight after team fight, finally barely deciding in an Echo Fox victory. Then game number 2, Echo Fox jump out to this huge lead, and you think they're gonna wrap it up. But FlyQuest barely fight back to it. They scale up into late game, and it feels like after that game, FlyQuest were like, you know what? Scaling to late game is exactly what we should be going for versus this team. So they draft again into some very nice scaling team fighting. Yeah. They play the early game of game number 3 so much slower that it looks like they had this game completely calculated. And Echo Fox got a little bit of an early lead, but not nearly enough to make up for the Fed turtle there on Tristana.
Yep. It was much different once they got that Rek'Sai as well away from Acadian, who was having beautiful early games. They slowed him down a little bit, were able to focus across the map, and then start to hit the main pivotal points, making sure Froggen wasn't getting what he needed. And also keeping Echo Fox off of these high kills, keeping them off of spiking early. This was the lowest kill game of the series that we just saw, and that favored FlyQuest with the style of play around the map that they usually bring to the table.
So that means that FlyQuest go 2-0 on the week.
We talked about what that momentum has to feel like. Putting so much practice in and not seeing results weighs on you so much. And here at week 5 is when some of that needs to turn around.
Exactly. And, you know, they can definitely be, you know, happy about the gains that they've made this weekend. But they have the entire ladder basically to climb, because they did start at the very bottom, tied for 10th coming into it. That being said, it is kind of heartwarming to see the teams that have been struggling so hard and been questioning themselves find some success.
Yep.
And really make the bottom of the standings also more interesting here, because that also knocks Echo Fox down another notch, as they'll have to take this home and look at the late game, because that was what cost them in game 2 and game 3.
Especially in game 2, we kind of saw both teams denied each other that huge initiation, which was I was very surprised to see with FlyQuest. Every time they had that Zach Moon was going in, they were still trying. And I even mentioned everybody behind a bad call isn't always a good thing. They were making better calls this time, more organized, and balls on Kled as well. Pretty formidable opponent for the team, now fitting that into the mix.
Yeah, definitely more organized this game. This was the most organized of the games.
You could say that.
And FlyQuest were the ones doing the organizing.
And it seemed like they went back to kind of the old way that they play. It wasn't too strenuous on them. They were still having fun, taking engages as they came, and they just kind of play this lax game, clear calls, and they go and take the wins. As out of champion select is where we used to see this team doing a lot of stuff, getting those flex picks, doing things that they can really turn another team around when they get the lane swaps, which was also somewhat of a pivotal point in these games. As we saw, top lane was being lost. There was a bit of lane swapping coming in.
Yeah, definitely true. The Zach pick came in big for them. They were able to get him multiple times in the series. And that type of crowd control from the front line was really good in setting up their team fights.
What a great victory for FlyQuest. And for more on that FlyQuest win, let's check in with Captain Flowers and the victorious support.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm here with Lemon Nation, who along with the rest of FlyQuest has managed to find themselves a 2-0 victory week here today. Now, talk to me a little bit about how it feels to get that momentum going for you guys, especially for you in particular. You got family here watching this weekend? That's got to feel good.
Yeah, this is the first time my family's actually come down for the games to Cali, and we got a 2-0 weekend, so it worked out perfectly. I think we've been playing a lot better recently. Even last week, I thought we had improved since earlier in the split, where I thought we were playing very terribly. And we still do have a lot to work on for sure, but I'm happy how we're going, yeah.
What kind of improvements do you think the team is making that's allowing you guys to have these victories now and sort of bounce back into the form that you were in when you were looking really, really good as a team?
Honestly, I think we just kind of make a lot of dumb mistakes, a lot of basic mistakes. Like, I'm getting caught out where I shouldn't. We're just making a lot of small things that kind of, you know, lead us to have a lot of issues later in the game. And we kind of have issues mid-game as well. And we've kind of just been lowering those, working on fundamentals again, and making sure that we kind of know what to do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you guys are definitely recognizing issues that you have. You're correcting them to be able to find the wins like you have this weekend. And we're cresting the hill now over the middle part of the split. We're getting closer and closer towards the end of summer 2017. How do you guys feel about the potential of FlyQuest seeing playoffs twice in a row and making a run for it?
I mean, I think we definitely can. Like, I think making playoffs is As long as we continue to improve, we'll definitely make playoffs.
All right. So as part of that improvement, coming up, we've got Rift Rivals this upcoming weekend, so there's not any regular LCS play. What about you guys on FlyQuest? You're not attending Rift Rivals, so what's the plan with this upcoming downtime?
Well, we have a 3-day break in the next 3 days, and then we just start scrims again, so I'm going to just spend it with my family.
Hey, it sounds like a fantastic way to celebrate the wins, fantastic way to keep on going further and further in towards Summer Split. So congratulations once again, my friend. Best of luck to you and the rest of the team, and we're tossing things over to the analysts to take it from here.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. A 2-0 week for FlyQuest. You heard from Elimination there. It's going to be great for them to have gotten that as we kind of crest that halfway point of the split. As we just talked about in our last post-game segment around Phoenix One, who just got a victory over Immortals, they now got that 2-week reset before we come back in the Summer Split. And so for FlyQuest, it's going to be about continuing to push the envelope of that improvement that Elimination's talking about in order to make it to playoffs.
And I think what they're starting to find a little bit of a style this weekend where they've beat both Dig and Echo Fox kind of off the back of more standard team fighting team comps. They still play, you know, like we saw with the Lucian mid and that kind of stuff. They still play heavily around the mid lane. But if the enemy team is not super good at executing in the late game, it feels like they can take some wins just by having some of that decisive team fighting that you want to see. And Turtle on a little bit more individual playmaking can really step up.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Turtle has been a bit, this week in particular, especially with the Tristana pick coming back, and Jhin. Actually, Jhin is phenomenal too. So those two picks seem to be working for him quite well, where, say, the Caitlyn's didn't let him shine as much.
Well, we talk about him being not the best laning player, and we thought maybe Echo Fox isn't a great team for him to be on just because it feels like they need to all in on the early game, but they've kind of gone the opposite. Yeah, FlyQuest. They've kind of gone the opposite.
Don't know if he'd be good on Echo Fox.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, on FlyQuest, being such the team that seemed like they need to early game focus, they switched to late game here, and that's where Turtle was always his best. Is sometimes he still takes those risky fights, but he can be the guy who actually cleans up a team fight and snowballs to a victory.
But let's talk about that. Let's take a step back here, actually, for a moment. Let's talk about this draft, because coming into Game 3, we had talked about with Echo Fox moving back onto the red side. In Game 1, giving the Zac up, also giving the Corki up. This time, they decided to make the adjustment, hand over the Zac so they can take the Corki pick away from high, which I actually do think was an intelligent adjustment in terms of just the draft phase.
I think that idea makes some sense. You saw them take Zac Game 1, like you said. This time, just don't give him the Corki with it. So you get the Corki, because if you ban the Zac, maybe Corki rises all the way to first pick priority, and you don't get it. So that part makes sense. Where they lose me a little bit is in the second draft phase, where they take Rumble blind early on. And this gives the Kled counterpick over to FlyQuest.
Right.
Now, there have been some bans on Renekton, and so maybe you think you no longer have a good counterpick to Rumble if Balls decides to take that blind.
And of course, yeah, you have to fear that Balls will take that blind. He's very willing to do so.
But either way, what ends up happening is now you have a Zac Kled frontline for an Orianna Tristana core backline, as well as having a Tom Kench. So suddenly you have this monstrous late game team fight comp where you don't really have pressure in too many lanes early on.
Yeah, we saw in one of the final fights that Wild Turtle almost got zeroed out before elimination was able to gobble him up and keep him alive just long enough to then turn the fight and roll back through. But the fight I want to take a look at comes at 29 minutes. This is the Baron fight, 2-0 plus the Baron for FlyQuest.
It was a really, really scrappy game, but slowly over time, Turtle had picked up a couple kills, and now you get to see that kind of brute force initiation. Moon misses his E, doesn't matter, gets a knockup.
Great
Balls
flank
comes in the backside. Yep, great flank, sets the team up, and now Turtle, after that first kill, kind of starts going wild in the team fight. A nice equalizer out of Looper, making FlyQuest chase over to find that second kill of this team fight, but you know, Turtle's going to be able to lifesteal up a little bit, and they're tailing back on the Baron. They pick that up, and then just a couple minutes later, the game ends.
Balls didn't do very much damage this game.
Nope.
I was not expecting to see that.
No.
I mean, it makes sense, obviously, that Rumble would outdamage him as a team-fighting mage who can lay that equalizer down, but that is a huge discrepancy.
Yeah, and so when you say, okay, well, Kled got the counter pick on Rumble, who cares? Look at the damage graph and the fact that, you know, Looper wasn't snowballed on, but you need to take it in context where Looper is actually a pretty strong laner, and Balls has been struggling. All of FlyQuest, honestly, has been struggling in CSD. Now that he has the favorable matchup, he can focus more on going even and then playing the team fights out where he's more focused on flanking.
Right.
Even though you think about Kled as, oh, he sets up ganks great onto Rumble and you can snowball on it, you can also just play the lane even and then focus on that late game.
Exactly. All it requires then is that good positioning there on the flank, as we mentioned, to kind of give that pause to the enemy team, which lets Turtle do the damage. That's the only person that really needed to do the work. Of course, the Orianna did supplement that damage. Turtle will get player of the game 6-0 and 4, 91% kill participation on the Tristana. This guy is finding his spot here on FlyQuest. So is this the start of that upswing for FlyQuest? We heard Elimination talk about it. If they continue to improve, he thinks that they are a shoo-in to make playoffs.
I mean, I would be willing to buy in a little bit because it's been a great weekend for them. They've been able to play both Dignitas and Echo Fox teams who haven't had the greatest late games, and then they've won a lot based off their late game decision making as well as having really strong late game comps. Is that enough to really push them into the playoffs?
Right.
Given that they're already starting from such a deficit, it's hard to say for me, but I do like what I see here and kind of devoting more resources to Turtle.
And at the end of the day, Echo Fox is one of the teams that they're going to have to edge out in order to get maybe that 5th or 6th slot in the playoffs. So getting a victory here over them is going to be helpful in terms of that head-to-head record and even forcing a tiebreaker or getting that 2 over them at the end of the split. Now we've got more league action coming your way. Team Liquid hit the Rift next as they go up against Counterlogic Gaming. Be sure to stick around for highlights, or after the highlights rather, for your daily dose of Rift Rivals hype. Jeff?
Have some fun. Moon almost goes down, but he tries to take him out of the fight with him. Few more shots. Falls goes down. First blood as Keith drops the curtain on. A great equalizer by Looper. They all got to walk the red carpet as they get in, and it's not going to be enough from Looper. Moon brings back Gate and Acadian. Things are getting sticky for Echo Fox on this one. He latches onto Looper. Esports run right. Abyssal Voyage in from Lemon Nation as they look to consume the rest of Echo Fox. Not jumping over the wall.
This is not a game, don't take me lightly. Brain cell from insane, bring the pain of nothing nice. The last thing you see when you fall asleep, and then the whole city know who messes with me. Nobody, you want it, you got it, and good. Mess around and get 2 fists for Christmas. I don't play, do the deed and get away with no scrapes like I'm OJ. Ride, reckless. I'm about this money, putting checks on my checklist. Might jack your necklace, might smack your squad up. You may go hard, but we go harder. So if it's on, it's on. So if it's on, it's on. So if it's on, it's on. Might see me banging on my chest like I'm king. Okay, what the problem is? Mess around and try to run with the problem kids. King of the jungle, scooter talking in the politics. You wanted a leader, okay, now follow this. Never help if you wanna. I'ma put it on your slow, sitting like a freight train. Not of this earth, we are not the same. When my crowd to the side say hi to the